I'm Cheng Thom, and this is Ask Kai, Quick Tips for the Apocalypse, a series of short videos in which I give you all my very best advice about surviving and thriving in the Is it still the apocalypse? Which apocalypse is this? The world is ending. I'm giving you advice. I'm pretty sure you get it. So today's question is like a sexy one. Yay, I love the sexy questions. So this one is from a question asker who says, I have an amazing partner and everything is perfect between us, except he has a really huge D, and when we have penetrative sex, it's actually really painful, and giving head is kind of hard too. What can we do? Do I have to end the relationship? Okay, so I'm just so happy that someone has asked this question, because I think it's something that a lot of us think about, in the dark of the night, in the cover of Secret, underneath the veil. We chat about it with our best friends in whispers, because it's just really hard and kind of awkward and silly to ask about. And no matter who is asking it, it sounds kind of like a giant, if you will excuse the pun, humble brag. Because if you're the person with the huge D and you're like, oh my God, my D is so big and I just have trouble sometimes like fitting it into people, then people are like, oh yeah, that sounds like a really tough problem for you. And then if you're the person who's like, oh, my partner has such a giant D and it's hard to have sex, people are like, that's really challenging for you also. But it actually is pretty challenging sometimes, especially if one has like a smaller body in comparison to the large body part in question. And I think the mistake a lot of people make is they sort of panic and they're like, oh, well, I'll just get over it. Or if they're the person with the large D, then they're like, oh, the person will also get over it, and we'll just train ourselves to be okay with this. And then there's like a jamming that happens. Someone tries to like jam like an enormous cucumber into a tiny little electric socket, and that's just not a good idea. It's bad for you. It's bad for the environment. Well, I don't know if it's bad for you. It's bad for you. It's bad for your sex. And so I don't recommend the jamming and we'll get over it technique. The thing to do is to start slowly. We can sort of warm the part of the body that is receiving the D up by putting in smaller body parts or smaller toys first. I recommend using a ton of lube. Lube tends to make things better if we're talking about body parts that are not the mouth. Lube doesn't tend to help with the mouth because the mouth's already wet, So we want to use a ton of lube. We want to start with smaller body parts. We want to warm it up. And I mean like warm it up for like a long time. You know how like when you preheat the oven needs to be preheated and it sometimes takes up to 20 minutes? Yeah, I mean like preheat yourself for like up to 20 minutes or more. There's like a lot of foreplay, like a lot of stimulation, like massage it, stroke it, lick it, do whatever feels good. Really give that receiving body part lots and lots of pleasure and safety and trust and the option to slow down and the option to say no and the option to say I've changed my mind. Okay, so we're giving lots and lots of space and options and most of all pleasure to the receiving body part, because it's pleasure that will open things up, pleasure that will relax us, pleasure that will loosen any sphincters or muscle fibers that might want to be loosened. And so that can often help with things. But also super important is the option to be like, no, or like the option to be like, I'm done at any time. We often get very excited when we have sex. We sort of get this like Cookie Monster vibe where we're like, rah, 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 gotta do it all. But like, that's nice, but also if you're in pain, I recommend stopping if the pain is not something intentional. So I want to be really clear and say, if the person with the giant D is going in there and it's okay at first or okay for a while, but then the person with the D hasn't come to orgasm or ejaculated or, finished their business in whatever way is finishing for them, we do not have to continue until they're finished. We want to go with the pleasure principle. follow the pleasure, and the pleasure will take us where we need to be. It's generally a nice guideline when it comes to sex. But that's just one option. I think the other option is to really have a conversation about, like, what is the sex that would feel good for both partners involved? Like, we assume that people with giant Ds just want to stick their giant Ds into, like, a juicy hole and, sort of ride it to, like, Seabiscuit. But that's just not always true for people. It's a stereotype. It's a myth. Like, do they want that? Some maybe, but others not. Or is it the only thing they want? Some maybe, the others not. And so maybe there are other kinds of sex that don't involve stretching any orifices, creating any pain. And I just, again, want to be really clear. Like, if we're talking about stimulating someone with a D or a penis or a phallus or, a girl dick or whatever, we are calling this body part, sometimes, like, amazing, slippery, lubey hand jobs are like a really amazing thing that they want. Sometimes oral that doesn't involve, like, inserting the entire body part into someone's mouth might also feel really good. There are many different techniques that we can try or use. Using toys is also a great option. Fleshlights is a thing that many people enjoy. Maybe this person doesn't want to have their giant D really stimulated that much at all. Maybe it's more about teasing like other parts in the genital area. Maybe it's about the power dynamic. They don't really need to have their genitalia directly stimulated, and it's more about what you kind of do with each other in terms of kink or what you say to one another. So having the conversation about, like, do they need their giant D stimulated? What kind of stimulation would feel good for them? What kind of sex do you both want to have that would feel really hot is great, because it kind of takes people off the hook. And so this is what we have to do in sex, is we listen, to what people are saying, and then we check in again in the moment. We offer many different options, and it frequently turns out that the thing that is making us nervous is also making them nervous. And so if we take the pressure off and kind of just create a nice field of options, little menu for people to try, then things work out. So I recommend trying all these things. If everything else truly is great and it's just fitting the giant D in there that is causing the problem, I implore you, don't break up just yet. You have some other options. I'm wishing you the best of luck. Okay, kids, so that's it for today. I notice these videos are getting more and more into, like, the graphic details of sex, and I just want to say I love it. Keep sending me your graphic sex questions. I want to talk about it. I'm Kai, and this has been Ask Kai, Quick Tips for the Apocalypse. Stay safe, wear your mask, watch the COVID numbers. I don't know. It's all very confusing. Just be well. Be well. Be well.